Look at that. Wow. Oh, g'day scrappers. Well, today's the day that I'm going to actually start pouring some copper from my new furnace. So let's see how we go. So what I've got some different types of copper here. I've got my giant crucible that I cured the other day, and I've pre-packed it with a little bit of copper, and all up I've got just under 5 kilos of copper here that I want to melt today, in trying to do it in one pour. So here I've got my molds. That's my original little stack of molds that made 10-11 ounce bars, and that's my mold that I use for 1 kilo to 1.5 kilo bars, so up to about 3 pounds. But today I've got this giant mold, and this one's rated at 7.5 kilos of gold, or 5 kilo copper, 5 kilos of silver, and it should be about 4.5 kilos of copper, so close to about 10 pounds of copper in this mold. So that's the one I'm going to be using, and so that's what I've got in my copper here. I've got about 10 pounds of copper, and we'll see if we can get it all into the crucible. Once this starts melting, then I'll be able to just drop some copper pieces into the top here and keep it melting. So I don't want to do that until I've actually got molten copper inside. Otherwise, it would just sit there and it would cool the furnace up. So once it's molten, then when I put it in, it should just, keep slowly going down and melting into the molten copper. All right, well, going to fire this baby up. How am I going to do this? Probably got a bit of a safety apron. That should keep me safe. I actually thought it was going to be a lot louder than it is. It's not loud at all. Okay, I turned it down a little bit just so I can let it slowly heat up, and then I'll just put it up that extra little bit. Been just over 10 minutes so far, and the copper is lost its color, so it's getting about, it's probably about 500 degrees, maybe 600. So we've still got quite a bit to go. So it looks like to get it to melting, it's probably, well, this is a big crucible, and it's already got about almost 5 pounds of copper inside it. So, you know, it's going to take about 20 minutes to get it to melt, and then we can keep adding a little bit more. But it's going quite nice. And see, the copper wire is a little bit different to melt than, say, pre-melted copper ingots and stuff like that, because you can see here, this is the bright and shiny, and this is, you know, lacquered. When you put this in, the smoke, you know, when it's burning off this lacquer, there is quite a bit of smoke at the start. So you've got to be, you know, you don't want to be breathing in that smoke. So I use this face mask, and it's really good. I can't smell any smoke. I can't smell the copper or the lacquer burning at all. You know, so yeah. When you're doing a big volume like this, I think it's probably a good idea to have a good face mask. And they're all different. You don't want to get the cheapest one, because you want to get one, you know, the best you can actually afford, because they all do different things, and so this is about as good as I could get for the job that I'm using. But if this would not be good enough for gold recovery, because you need a totally different face mask, and they're actually very expensive. You're looking at it more like about $400 or $500, but that's only for gold recovery. For just general stuff like this, and sanding and paint stripping, this is good enough. Over here, this is the bar that I made for pouring my crucible. So I got this welded up, so you should get to see that, how that works. Hopefully it works, because the bar itself is pretty heavy, and if I have about 4.5 kilos of copper, and the crucible itself weighs almost 3 kilos, so that's about 7.5 kilos. I'll just weigh this, see how much it weighs. Yeah, this weighs 3.5 kilos. So all up, there's going to be about you know, probably a bit over 10 kilos or 22 pounds of weight that I've got to pour. So it's going to be interesting. Just want that crucible to start getting red hot, and I might turn it up a little bit. That should get it going. Slowly getting there. Wow, I dropped my camera before and the lens got a little scratch on it. Oh well, looks like it's time to get a new camera. Well, it worked out pretty good. Let me get the camera out of the tripod. Okay, you can see that blurry part on the camera, that's got a little chip on the lens. Well, that's the beautiful pour come up pretty good. The heat that's radiating off this is amazing. It's like, wow. it's going to take quite a while to cool down. Obviously I don't want to touch it until, you know, it cools down a bit. But see that little bit of bleeding on the top? That, I think that's a little bit of borax that's melting, but it's got a really beautiful ripple on it. I've got to get away because it's super hot. There you go. Wow. And the furnace is super hot. It took a little bit longer than I thought. Oh, good. Probably about 35 to 40 minutes. Yeah, the whole area here is scorching hot right now. So I'll give this about 5 or 10 minutes, because I certainly don't want to quench it or anything like that when it's super hot like that. It could, you know, it could pop. But from the top it looks like a beautiful pour. It's I love the ripple effect on the top. That's just magnificent. Wow, that's certainly the biggest bar I've ever poured. It looks like it's going to be 10 kilos. I had to change some of the wire that I was putting in there because, yeah, it didn't want to melt for a while there. And I've got this little trick where what I do in the crucible is I put copper stackers, like heavy pieces on top and solid, because solid copper melts completely different to copper wire for some reason. And probably because there's a lot of spaces in between. But so I put a couple of, you know, I put about 6 copper stackers on top, and that kind of when they kind of melt a little bit easier, and then they sort of push down everything. And yeah, but it did take at least 40 minutes, I reckon, for it to melt. I thought I was going to run out of gas, but no. So it's the second time I've used it. The first time it was just we got ice, so it has started to freeze. But yeah, yesterday when I was prepping the furnace and the crucible, so I used, you know, the gas bottle, you know, it was only on low gas, but, you know, for a good hour and a bit, doing it multiple times. So yeah, a good hour or so. And now, yeah, this one took, I think, over 40 minutes, and it looks like there's still a third of a bottle there, but I think I'll get better at it. Now I know what to do when I'm doing copper wire, even in this. I thought it was only going to be in the electric crucible, but this one as well, need to put heavy pieces of copper on top to push it down and it melts a little bit quicker. And but you know, this crucible is the 10 kilo crucible. It was pretty heavy, but I managed to pour it pretty easily. I'm happy with the pouring rod that I got made, but I might go down to well, this is 10 kilo or A10, so I might go down to an A8, and I can easily still fit the same amount of copper as this, but it will just be I think a little bit quicker to melt, because there is when I was melting the copper, there is a lot of space up the top, like 2/3 of the crucible almost was empty. So, you know, I think that helps, you know, keeps it cool. And so if I got an A8 a little bit smaller, the only thing is I'm going to have to get the this handle readjusted. So you can see I got the T here, a T here, that's one's bent a little bit, so I can lever it a little bit better. And yeah, all right, let's get this bar out. I'll give it a couple more minutes and we'll get it out and we'll check it out. Pretty excited, first time using this furnace. It also, probably what I did wrong was I didn't adjust this really good. Like, I had it a little bit too much closed, and I had it probably, I think I opened it too much, and about here is where it kind of worked for me. So it's all trials, you know. You got to, you know, have a couple of runs. I can't expect miracles the first time I pour, but you know, especially going from electric, you know, tiny little crucibles to, you know, these giant ones, it's a totally different ball game, you know. And I'll tell you a little funny story, right? I think one of the neighbours next door, I don't really talk to them anyway, but they call the fire brigade, because at the start when you're melting copper wire, the wire smokes up a bit because of the lacquer and stuff, and so they probably thought it was a fire, or just to be smart asses, I think they call the fire brigade, because long after the smoke went away, it only smokes up only for a few minutes and it goes, and then it's just a clean burn, you know, and there's no fumes, you can't smell anything. And I heard right at the front of my house a fire brigade siren just went off, a little whoop, you know, and I didn't get out there in time to see, but it was a fire truck. And so they probably got called, and when they got here, they probably seen that there's no smoke or anything. So they just sounded the siren just to say that they were here or something. But that's okay. I'm not making fires. It's just it's a reasonably enclosed furnace. But I will check out with the local council and see if it's actually legal to run it. You know, otherwise I have to be a bit more careful. But yeah, got the wheelbarrow here ready to quench, and well, yeah, I'll give it a couple minutes and we'll see how we go. Check these out, giant. Oh. Brand new. Wow. Wow. That's massive. Oh, it's nice and heavy. And that's just massive. Look at that. See a bit of borax. Look at the swirls, or the, you know, that pattern. So pretty damn good. A little bit, I needed to do a little bit quicker at the start. I sort of stuttered a little bit, and you can see that little groove. But then the pour went really quick after that, so that's why it's nice and smooth, you know. But that's great. Still pretty hot. Wow, there's 35 litres of water in here, cold water, and now it's like bath water. It's so beautiful and warm. So that took a serious amount of heat. Wow. That's going to polish up pretty nice. Oh yeah, see, just that groove is, you know, it shouldn't be that noticeable once it's polished out, but I just stuttered a little bit there at the start, but I'll get better, and I probably should have like a lot of people say, start pouring from the edge. But it's more about just doing a really quick pour. But look at that. Oh, I'm going to polish this one up. Wow, that's a heavy bar. But I'll first polish it up and then we'll get the weight. Whoa, copper. Free copper. Beautiful. Let's go and do it. Wow, that's looking really, really good. It's a beautiful bar. Okay. Wow. Check that out. Wow. Wow, looks like a big gold bar. Put it out in the sun. Look at that. Wow. It's come up alright. So that's that start where I sort of hesitated, but geez, it actually poured really good. I had the temperature up. It must have been nice and high, but look at that top. Look how nice and rippled it is and beautiful. I mean, who wants a machined bar when you can get hand poured like that? That's as beautiful as it gets. Wow. I'm going to go and weigh it up. Wow. .21 kilos. So it's not bad. 4.21 kilo. Well, the ingot is a 5 kilo silver, so that's about as much. Could only get a couple more 100 grams. So 4.2 kilos is what? About 9 pounds, 9.5 pounds. Close enough to 10 pounds. Wow. 10-pound bar. Or 9.5 pounds. I'll have to go inside and do the math, but who knows? Look at that. Feels really nice. Wow. I'm happy with that. It's damn heavy. It's actually a nice, really nice feeling bar. It's, you know, it's more like a big gold bar because that's how gold bars kind of are. They're very heavy to pick up, and this one is like feels heavier than, you know, the size of it. But geez, that's fantastic. And hang on, if I can just, that's a kilo bar or a bit over. Wow, that's fantastic. Pity about my camera, it's got that little fuzzy part because I chipped the lens, so I'm going to have to get a new camera, but that's okay. I was planning on getting one anyway, but really happy with that. Hey, just about 10 pounds. Well, as close as I can get it to 10 pound with this ingot that I've got. And yeah, it sort of makes these ones look, you know, these are nice to hold in the hand, I have to admit. Just over 1 kilo, you know, 2.5 pounds nearly, I suppose. But this is like, wow, copper bullion, you know, like serious bullion. Be nice to you know, I think I'll probably try and make, you know, quite a few more of these and just stack these. I mean, you can use them as door stoppers for a while, but even though they look really nice, shiny, I like them when they get toned as well. So yeah. Wow. Just love this top. Alright guys, well, that was melting copper in my new furnace. It's a bit dark now. All that original coating is all peeling off, so I'm going to have to clean that out. Apparently it's just to protect the inside layer. It's just initially until it cures properly. But so far so good. Took a little bit longer than I expected. But yeah, it was mostly because of the adjustments I didn't get right. But I think I know what to do now. And what's this? The little bar that I got made up. Yeah, pretty happy with the setup so far. We'll keep I'll keep making some of these bars and stack them away. Alright guys, hope that was a little bit of fun for you. Copper, there's a lot of free copper out there, as my other videos suggest. So go out there and grab yourself some free copper and make yourself some bars. And what am I going to do with this? I suppose I save hundreds of people to say, well, you're not going to get any more for that. Well, obviously, we don't sell copper bars to scrap yards. If I was going to sell to a scrap yard, I'll just sell the copper wire. You know, this is for my own collection. You know, it's like a hobby. But there are also people that like to buy ingots. Probably not this big. I don't think you'll get much extra value. Might get 2 times the value of scrap metal, maybe 3. But ingots about 1 kilo in size or 2 pounds. There I can get 6 times the value of copper, because that's how most people want, you know, to stack their copper. You know, people just like collecting metals, and so if you don't have a furnace and all your setup and expensive crucibles and so on, well, the only option is to either buy from a bullion dealer, which you're going to pay a lot more anyway, or buy hand poured from me. You know, like this one here. Well, in scrap value it's about 25 bucks. But yeah, I wouldn't sell this for anything less than $80. Really, probably even 100 bucks. Just have to stamp it. But obviously I'm not going to sell this. I'm going to just, you know, stack this up with my gold and silver. Alright guys, well, keep scrapping, have fun, and I'll catch you next time.